Welcome to the law firm of Legal Aid Depot. Let's see if we can invite some people to the office. And while I'll invite people to the office and the left hand run this lawyer, I can say that he's a good lawyer because right now that's what you need. You need a good lawyer, even though most of them, if not all of them, because most of them basically sign an oath to be a liar. I'm just saying, the whole legal system is a
Did I
system
mention that I have an MBA?
full of criminals. The legal system is too crooked to be, I'm just saying, it's too crooked to literally be trusted. That's it, that's all. And that's all I can say about that. That's the legal system. It's a system of bullshit. And here we go. I'm going to sit down in my office right now.
I'm here for you, boss. 100%.
They keep telling us that the numbers have been going down, down, down. A DC police commander was suspended, accused of changing crime statistics. This guy saying they spent $200 million on this crime lab, and it's not even accredited. They couldn't even test stuff for a long time. Why are you manipulating crime data? Democrats in DC having a hard time understanding crime statistics. They keep telling us that the numbers have been going down, 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 and that it's nothing to worry about, and Trump's taking over DC, these maniacs saying, it's DC's ours. Now we're under occupation, occupied DC by Trump, who's trying to get rid of criminals off the street so that even ABC news anchors aren't getting attacked on the way to their cars. But what we were hearing from them was the numbers are down. Well, what happened was some people dug this article up from not too long ago, okay? Less than a month ago, July 18, 2025, Trump issued his DC order August 11th. So less than a month ago, guess what happened? A DC police commander was suspended, accused of changing crime statistics. Not good to do that. And DC is a mess. And I wanted to flag this other share over from our friend Bonnie, who's Membo over on Locals, and she was flagging this for us. Thank you, Bonnie, for this story. But she posted this too. There's other old stories about just how bad DC is. Flagging this one from Katie Pavlich. And if you look up the news articles about what's going on in DC, you can just see these headlines. DC Crime Lab can now test crime scenes after losing its accreditation. Oh, wait, they lost their accreditation? They're not even scientifically literate such that they can be accredited, so that you can confirm they follow proper lab procedures and don't introduce contaminant into your blood samples and DNA analysis, you know what I'm saying? No, they couldn't do it. So DC Crime Lab could have been reaccredited by January. That was a year ago. Here's one 4 years ago. DC Crime Lab says it never concealed filings. Here's another one year ago. DC Council's bill aims to help get the crime lab fully reaccredited. And we'll watch this video of this story. It's pretty wild. This guy saying they spent $200 million on this crime lab, and it's not even accredited. They couldn't even test stuff for a long time. Totally ridiculous. But here's the other story. Okay, so the DC police commander was suspended as well. And this went back from NBC Washington reporting, saying the Metro Police Department confirmed Michael Pulliam was placed on paid administrative leave in mid-May, which is nice. So he's just on vacation, paid vacation, even though he's cooking the books. This happened just a week after Pulliam filed an equal employment opportunity complaint against the assistant chief, and the police union accused the department of deliberately falsifying crime data, according to 3 law enforcement sources familiar with the complaint. Which is just amazing. The union claims police supervisors in the department manipulate crime data to make it appear violent crime has fallen considerably compared to last year. That's interesting. So the unions are blowing the whistle on their own police department, essentially, which is curious, right? So I think what's probably happening is that police officers are talking to their union reps and saying, hey man, like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're getting taken advantage of. They want this going on. Like, we deserve better rights. You should go fight for us, blah, blah, blah. But the departments are saying, everything's great. There's no crime going on. What are you talking about? Everything's amazing. You're doing it, you're doing exactly what you need to do. Shut up. And so there's a conflict here. So the union is then going after the departments, essentially, and saying, why are you manipulating crime data, all right? So in other words, it's not like, the Heritage Foundation or something saying that they're manipulating crime data. It's union claims, the police unions. Pulliam, the former commander of the 3rd District that patrols Adams, Morgan, and the Columbia Heights areas, was placed on leave with pay, obviously, because he's a cop. And if you do anything wrong, you just get paid. He's probably, I don't know, getting massages or something, for the investigation for questionable changes to crime data. 5 law enforcement sources, 5, told them in News 4. That came about a week after he filed a complaint against the assistant chief, according to 3 law enforcement people. And it's just amazing. News 4 reached out to Pulliam, and he denied allegations against him. He said, you go talk to the public information officer. Union official says there's a larger trend of juicing the books. When our members respond to the scene of a felony offense, where there is a victim reporting that a felony occurred, inevitably there's going to be a lieutenant or a captain that's going to show up on the scene, and they're going to direct those members to take a report for a lesser offense. There's like, there's like a knife sticking out of her back right now. Oh, well, that's a problem. Well, sounds like this was an accident
You
situation.
can never trust a liar.
Okay, let's just, maybe disorderly conduct. How about that? They were a little disorderly. She slipped and fell. Oops, got a little knife in her back, so just pull that knife out. And we're not going to call that attempted murder or murder. She's still alive, so that's no problem. So instead of taking a report for a shooting or a stabbing, they'll just say, well, the bullets broke the window, so it looks like it was a theft. So somebody wasn't shot at, it's just property damage, because the windows and body parts were blown off, it's just property damage. Or an injured person, it's just a misdemeanor, it's not a felony, right? The police department's command staff is focusing on 2 categories in order to get the numbers down. Pemberton said, armed with a dangerous weapon and injured person to the hospital is their categories. When management officials are directing officers to take reports for felony assault, or if they're going back into police databases, they're changing offenses to felony assault. Felony assault is not a category of crimes that's listed in their daily crime stats. What? Felony assault is not listed? That's crazy. It's like one of the most common crimes that exists, assault. Everybody's assaulting everybody. That's what, most domestic violences are. Or disorderly conduct, I would say, are probably more frequent than assaults, because disorderly conduct's even more vague. But assault is also, under most statutes, very broad. It's like offensive touching, right? You can charge anybody for that. So it's also not something that's a requirement of the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program. Well, I mean, that I can understand, because the FBI is not usually enforcing assault crimes, like assault felonies. Like, that's not their job. Those types of crimes are enforced by local, agencies, local police departments, which in this case would be the DC police. They're not reporting assaults. That's like their job. How can you just exclude that? Why don't they just exclude the drug crimes too? And the traffic offenses and the DUIs? So the union, they just don't want the numbers to add up. The union has been gathering evidence for some time by looking at reports and talking to officers all over the city. So the agencies are lying to their own cops, essentially? They gotta go to the unions, and the unions are blowing the whistle? That's a plus positive point for unions here. We don't say that often. What we've heard through our members and through our members who are willing to talk with us is that this is a directive from the command staff, is that they want to make sure these classifications of these reports are adjusted to make sure the overall crime stats are down. This is deliberately done, as of last Monday when News 4 spoke with Pemberton. DC crime data shows violent crime was down 28%. It's all fake. The department's website also said violent crime is down 25%. Because they're not counting the assaults. And they're changing the stabbings into property disorderly conduct. That's preposterous, Pemberton said. There's absolutely no way crime can be down 28%. Ridiculous. His wife, Captain Rachel Pulliam, was transferred from the youth division to Midnights. And according to 3 sources familiar with this, Commander Pulliam was ordered to pack up his wife's belongings and move them to his wife's new assignment. And so they say that's abuse. They're attacking his wife now. And so the union released some claims and no more comments to News 4. So it's a disaster over there. And Trump is now going to be fixing it. So cooking the books, indeed. We also saw from our friend Bonnie and Katie Pavlich that their crime lab is a total disaster. All right, all the headlines show deeply concerning problems for years, going back years, 4 years. DC mayor 4 years ago defends the crime lab that says she wants the issues fully resolved and may not regain accreditation until 2022, 4 years ago. So it's a disaster. Now, it's still basically been a disaster. It looks like they may have just gotten accreditation back this year after all of this time. This was 2023, and here's what this guy said about this crime lab back then.
$1 million. The district spent $220 million building a state-of-the-art crime lab a decade ago. But since then, it has lost its accreditation twice and left some wondering if criminal convictions based on its work would stand up. Now the DC auditor says part of the problem is that the crime lab has failed to operate independently as it is supposed to. She says its scientific advisory board never got the money it needed to keep an eye on the department, and that the U.S. Attorney's Office and the D.C. Attorney General's Office complained about problems, but never used the Stakeholders Council to fix them.
What we found in the audit was that neither of those has performed as intended.
The stakes here are really large, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and
That's
they're
a lot of
actually, it
agencies
could
that
be
we
good
pay
work going forward.
a lot of money
You
to
don't have
put
the
nothing.
accreditation, you just don't have the public confidence.
The audit also found that the department mismanaged complaints about professional negligence and misconduct and failed to follow DC law in handling those complaints. Is there a path to getting this department back on track?
I think so, and I think they actually have been working toward that end.
The DC Council is already considering a bill for the Scientific Advisory Board, the resources it needs to oversee the department. But the city administrator just wrote that instead of making the crime lab structurally independent, he wants it to keep reporting to the mayor. In D.C., Bruce LaShan, WUSA 9.
Yeah, it's just a disaster in DC, and it's time for that to change. So Bowser is responding to some of this, and she is saying now we should make DC a state. So they get electoral votes and senators and House of Representatives for their ultra-liberal contingency that is there. So she held a press conference yesterday in response to this. She says, we know that access to our democracy is tenuous, which is such a stupid phrase. Bowser said, what does that even mean? This is why you have heard me and many, many Washingtonians before me advocate for full statehood. We are American citizens. Our families go to war. We pay taxes. We uphold the responsibilities of citizenship. Yeah, and you live in a federal district, which is maybe the richest district on the planet, with the most benefits and grift happening anywhere. And so you've got access to the federal government. You've got plenty of representation. You don't need more. Bowser